Crazy as it sounds, but the story of how Red Dead Redemption arrived on the docks of the old gaming store, that was terrible, was Capcom, who were highly known for their arcade titles in the 80s with 1942, Commando and Gunsmoke, an overhead western shooter that puts you in the cowboy boots of a bounty hunter searching for criminal outlaws. Capcom would come back to the genre with a spiritual successor called Red Dead Revolver. The original premise was a weird western shooter that had most of the elements from Gunsmoke, and it was being developed by Angel Studios. The project was constantly delayed due mostly to creative differences between the two, and Capcom would eventually axe the whole thing after Rockstar purchased the developer, renaming them Rockstar San Diego. The new San Diego team showed off their work on Revolver. Rockstar was so impressed, they purchased the rights to the Red Dead Revolver name off Capcom, made it look less like Gunsmoke 3D, and more like a Rockstar game. The gameplay barely changed though. Reception was okay, but nothing compared to the heights of the Grand Theft Auto series that was in a league of its own. But after the release of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, Rockstar San Diego began development on a spiritual successor to Red Dead Revolver, announced at E3 2005 as Old West Project. Expectations were fairly high, even though gamers were more focused on the hype for Grand Theft Auto 4, and after it was discovered that the game's budget was around $80 to $100 million, which at the time was one of the most expensive video games ever made, it was an indication that Rockstar had a lot of faith in the San Diego team to make something on par with the GTA series. Red Dead Redemption was announced in 2009, and trailers were released explaining different categories including storytelling, gameplay, John Marston, the female characters, villains, the open world, etc. But when it was eventually released on May 2010, it was once again a disappointment that reminded us to only think about Grand Theft Auto from now on.
Relax!
Come on, do you really think I would assume that? The critic scores indicate the complete opposite, but now it's my turn. Former outlaw John Marston has a family that's kidnapped by the government, and the only way he can see them again is to revisit his past. The government ordered Marston to capture his old gang who he used to hang with during his outlaw years. His first target is Bill Williamson, who is residing at Fort Mercer, crawling with enemies, but still has the balls to implore Bill to give himself up.
You implore me? You implore me?
It's safe to say that his approach made him a stupid man, though he was able to survive the gunshot thanks to the citizens of the McFarlane Ranch. Of course he survived. You play through the whole game getting shot at constantly.
So, how do you feel?
I don't know the polite word for it.
I do. Stupid is the word we use.
Anyway, he agrees to work at the ranch to pay for the medical treatment. Because of that, it starts off very slowly. But it's a good way to learn the controls, which are easy to learn if you've played a lot of GTA 5. Don't worry, it'll only be a matter of time when you'll be shooting crooks with your revolver on a horse like a badass, just like the western films of the 60s. Marston will meet some very interesting people, including a sheriff, a con artist, a lunatic treasure hunter, and an Irish drunk.
He's unfortunately lost his mind to the demon drink. At least I hope he has, and he wasn't this stupid all along.
Marston's search and destroy mission leads him into Mexico during a civil war, and back again. I don't know what else to say. It's hard not to spoil the stories of Rockstar games.
See, it's a complicated and somewhat pathetic tale, and by telling you, not only would I be putting your life in danger, but also threatening the lives of some people that I hold very dear.
Exactly, Mr. Marston. It's also why he's such a complex video game protagonist. Or maybe it's just because everybody he comes across is simply a pain in the ass, f***s around too much, and he's the only real-life character in this crazy world, like Superintendent Chalmers from The Simpsons.
What you are, dear boy, is the man whose life I've saved twice now. A man who sells lies and deceit to unwitting people. A man who, if he doesn't help me, I won't think twice about putting a bullet through his skull, feeding to the vultures myself.
It would have been no surprise that the writers spent weeks on those insults and threats.
You and Wes Dickens are so crooked, you can swallow nails and spit out corkscrews.
Anyway, the story missions will give you a few glimpses of why he's going after his old outlaw friends, why he abandoned them, what kind of family he has, and why he's so impatient.
Now, if I don't capture my former brother in arms, great harm will befall my family.
There isn't a single Western video game that matches the level of character development and presentation Red Dead Redemption has. Unlike the Grand Theft Auto series, the biggest strength is the storytelling. While its predecessor was a spaghetti western with a heavier focus on arcade-style gameplay, this one takes itself more seriously. It's easy to see why if this is your environment. Combine this with the soundtrack, it looks incredible. Rockstar San Diego's original plans were to set it in the mid-1800s when the Wild West was at its peak, and when you have a city-sized archive of references just from the films alone, that sounded too easy. Instead, they set it in 1911 when it was dying and the US was in its transitional period into the modern era. The developers went all out, visiting deserts across the US, reading literature from the Library of Congress, watched movies, novels, the sort of stuff Pixar would do if they were making a film, and all that hard work paid off.
You know, I dreamt of documenting the last days of the Old West. The romance, the honor, the nobility. But it turns out it's just people killing each other.
It always was, Professor.
It uses Rockstar's typical game engine Rage, which has actually been used for over a decade now. However, Red Dead Redemption got special treatment by installing the Euphoria and Bullet software onto the engine to create a longer draw distance and shorter loading times in-game. It could have looked much better if there was a PC port. The lack of one is pretty odd. Every other Rockstar title including Bully and LA Noire have one. Even so, you literally have every terrain type on this map from deserts to canyons, forests, snowy mountains and more deserts. The only way they can make it more genuine is to present it in black and white, which you can do on your TV. And the areas designed for a specific mission like the mine and the town Torquemada, which is on top of a canyon, are fantastic, even if you can technically access it while free roaming. The linear gameplay from Red Dead Revolver has been replaced with an open world sandbox set between the border of the United States and Mexico. Fictionalized, of course. With 20 plus hours of gameplay just from the story, this is the closest thing you'll get to a Western simulator. Because the map is so big with so little inhabitants, getting from point A to B on one part of a mission can take up to 10 minutes. Mostly because the people you have to stay with ride their horses like snails. But when the action kicks in, you're in for a wild ride that makes it all worth it. No town is big enough for this cowboy. John Marston has an array of different weapons you'd expect from the West, including revolvers, rifles, and dynamite. Before GTA 5 came out, I thought this had the best controls of any Rockstar game. Just the way you move, take cover, aim your weapon, I don't have much to complain about. One element that was taken from Red Dead Revolver is bullet time or Deadeye. You can mark onto more than one target while in slow motion, hit the fire button and you will automatically shoot all the marked areas at once. This is handy for picking off more than one enemy and increasing accuracy.
Funny how everyone seems to know my business, but nothing about the men I'm looking for.
It isn't easy getting the locals to talk.
Besides, who doesn't like slow-mo kills in a video game? Look, it's Marston making a mess of this unfortunate soul. What good is a Western game without dueling? This can be done by some random guy who challenges you or if someone accuses you of cheating in poker.
I'm getting good at this.
Come on, we've earned ourselves a drink. I think Mr. Muller's buying.
It was such a huge step forward, everything that was introduced here was implemented into GTA 5. But can I just say, whenever you jump from such a tall height, you fall very slowly. Also, water equals instant death. This came out after GTA San Andreas in 4, by the way. Same goes for the horse. If you want one of these, they need to be tamed with a lasso first. Then they can be called with a whistle at any time. Horses have their own stamina. Push them too hard, they'll throw you off, and using it for a long time will increase the stamina bar. Rockstar San Diego did motion capture of a person riding a horse to get the most authenticity of horse movement. Word is that it took years to develop and it was frustrating to capture because markers kept falling off the horse. Controlling it is highly self-explanatory, though it took me a really long time to figure out how to stop because believe it or not, the Undead Nightmare DLC was my first real experience with Red Dead Redemption. And it didn't exactly do a good job teaching me the controls. Sometimes you'll get random interactions signaled with a question mark on the map, where a person would ask for a small deed which mostly involves finding someone. Even when you're free roaming on a horse, you may find someone in trouble. Completing a mission either earns you money, fame, and honor. Literally. As honor slowly increases, prices for items go down, and the police give you double the salary for optional night watch jobs and bounty hunts. And all of it can come crashing down with a single rampage. Unless you turn off autosave. Whenever you do something illegal, the police will obviously come after you and you can lose them. But unlike GTA where the police just forget about it, a bounty is put on your head. Bounty hunters will come after you until you're dead, and the only way to fix that is to either pay up or use a pardon letter. Now can you imagine paying a bounty of over $700 in 1911? Yeah, I literally murdered over 15 people without remorse, and now it's paid for and I'm scot-free.
You better go straight now, like me.
I'm surprised that bounty doesn't play a role in most storyline missions. Oh wait, government agents. If you want to kill people legally, you can go after wanted lowlives who have bounties of their own, dead or alive, paying homage to the arcade classic Gunsmoke. But don't forget that this is a Rockstar title. There's more to Red Dead Redemption than placing helpless outlaws on the wrong side of the track. You can become a master of chance with poker, blackjack, and liar's dice, which from what I've heard everyone hates, but I find surprisingly addictive.
Now are you full of I wonder?
I might be. There's even a suit to increase your chances, or you can just take it out on the dealer. Back to the bounty station. Great, now I'm broke. Looks like I'll have to go to the other side of the map and hunt some animals to make the money back. And I'll also try to make amends after that gambling fiasco by taking down an entire gang hideout. Justice served. That was a rough day. I can't be bothered riding the horse. I'll take a stagecoach instead. And then the train. No, wait, I want to stop right here. There's a movie about a super drug that just came out. I have to see it. I find public transport pointless because the basic camping equipment, which allows you to save at any time, comes with a teleporter. It is a huge map after all. Actually, this movie sucks. Hey, some folks are playing some games of their own. Wow, this is kinda Don't worry, I still have all 5 fingers. Fancy an arm wrestle, sir?
So close. It's alright.
Believe it.
You'll get over it.
But sometimes, technique can conquer brute force. Okay, maybe not. Fine, I'll let you have that one. Here's your money. Marston doesn't seem to realize that revenge costs more than taking a loss if he wants to stay alive. Oh, you need a drink? Try to stay responsible with this Never mind. The drunken physics are hilarious. Get up, Marston, fun's over. Let's continue the search for your former buddies. Oh, how I love Red Dead Redemption. I've probably missed a couple, but as you can already tell, everything comes together flawlessly. There's not as much to do compared to GTA 5 or even San Andreas because it's 1911, but it means you won't be as distracted from the story, which we can tell is the real Rockstar of the game. That being said, if you want to complete 100%, keep all of that in mind. Open world games take a very long time to beat.
Come on, Archer. Let's go find somebody else we can annoy.
I mean, what else can you say about Red Dead Redemption? It's the best Western game, and when you think about it, it's not even close. Sure, Sunset Riders was made at a time when Konami meant something, and Oregon Trail has the distinction of being both fun and educational, but this game would easily beat them in a duel. Red Dead Redemption gets a 9.5 out of 10. It's a contender for the greatest game released by Rockstar. It might not have the same level of variety as GTA 5, but the level of polish, atmosphere, storytelling, and gameplay is unbelievably high. Don't forget that this came out a few years earlier. The sales matched its praise with over 14 million copies sold, so it was absolutely no surprise that when a sequel was announced in 2016, it was met with enormous support. Because to say that Red Dead Redemption is Grand Theft Auto set in the Wild West is an understatement. It's one of the best games of the generation, and a masterpiece that will be talked about for years to come. I hope more than one sequel is announced in the future.